Hey everyone, it's Wolfram here, and we've had a massive drop of content, and I've not done a video for a little while, so I thought I'd do a video on just some fun things I've been doing that some people are going to probably hate me for, but that's fine. It's okay. I don't mind living a bit of a pirate life, and this is a bit of a pirate video. And so what we're going to do is hunting miners, and this is all about cheap PvP. And I'm going to show you a couple of kills. I'm not going to give you people's names. It's not about shaming people, although this person should really think they're fit on their very expensive cover tattoo. But it's about using a cheap Atron interceptor to achieve a good bit of fun in the game, and ultimately it doesn't matter if you lose it. It's just for a bit of fun, and so to just show you don't need to spend a billion ISK or half a billion ISK on a Raven or something like that to have good fun PvP. I take the Atron because I can just go straight out into null sec. I can hunt things down, I can attack miners, people come and attack me, have a bit of fun. If I lose the ship, well, so be it. You'll see in a moment I've died a fair few times, and I'm not going to be ashamed of that, because it's about having that fun. This one's 87 million, it varies about that, and we're just going to go and look at the fitting now. So I have just died in the game. I'll show you the clip of it after this. I'm going to show you a couple of clips of the Atron being used, but I just want to show you this is the Atron. I've got an Atron lying around because I've got tons of these now, because this has just been so much fun in terms of the fitting. Oh no, not that Atron, a brand new Atron. So I've got one on insurance. This is the reason why it's cheap, is it's cheap to insure, which means it's even cheaper when you lose it. So in terms of fittings, I choose the Atron. So firstly, I choose the Atron because it gets high DPS out of its weapon system. An interceptor, because I do this in null sec, so gate camps are impossible. They're not a problem for me. People can throw bubbles and whatever, they can't stop you. You're quick, you're powerful, and nowadays you're pretty cheap. So I certainly recommend this in terms of the Atron interceptor. Also the interceptors, because you get 3 mid slots, which are going to be important for what you're going to do. And in terms of this now, in fact I'm probably waiting for my Quaif railguns to come out of audit, not audit, they're on lock from the insurance. So I've got some Corelli C-type small ones, but that's not the weapon I would use, because you're going to try and keep this cheap. So in terms of high slot, we're going to just do railguns, because it's an Atron and you get the stats for the railguns. We're going to use snubs for DPS. This ship has its limitations, and I'll go through them once I've got it equipped. I go with a Quaif for a bit of extra power, but not too much cost. So I'm going to pick up 3 of those. So you get there. That's it's a bit of a jump. I mean, if you want to spend the 12 million and get 3 of those, by all means. I mean, I've done that, but you don't get such a huge difference in the DPS. Not that it matters. Not enough that I think it matters for the cost. So I'll put on 3 of these. I'll throw on. I don't have any of the stuff, but it's all on. But we can do this live. It's fine. This is effectively how I equip the ship anyway. So you need scrams. You want the Federation ones, but again, they're cheap. Need 2 of these. We're going to need scanning. I'm using a Mark 9. I don't suggest using anything more expensive. Again, it's relatively cheap. I mean, you could go to. I mean, I just don't think it's worth it. It's just not for the price of the ship. I mean, the whole ship equipped, I'd do it for 100 mil, and that's including a Nano Core on it. I just don't think I'm going to spend 22 mil putting that on. Low slots. I cheap out because micro warp drives are super expensive at the moment, unless that's actually dropped in price. Not showing me anyway. Yeah, 14 mil for that. I'm simply not buying these for this ship. I use a microwave drive. You can use an afterburner. I use a micro warp drive as it's good for closing the distance. I'll go through the reasons why I fit it. I'll just show you what I get. So I've got micro warp drive again, dead cheap Mark 9 micro warp drive, and in the low slots I use. You do have a bit of a choice here. You need a cap battery. There's no choice there. Again, Republic Fleet small, cheap as chips. Apparently I'm overpaying on that one. And you have a choice. I'll show you the choices. You can either put on an armor repairer to repair effectively incidental damage. Now, I do sometimes spend a bit of money on these. I generally go for the blue ones. It's not super expensive. And the alternative is you can put in the weapon upgrade, the magnetic field. Again, this one you don't need to spend loads of ISK on it, because firstly just check. So it's railguns, I always get the wrong one. The damage bonus is 5% flat. Doesn't matter whether I spend it on that one or if I spend it on a blue one. It's 5%. The difference is on your activation. You get just under 1% more damage when you activate. I don't really see the point, so I just go for the cheap one. But again, I'm trying to keep it relatively cheap if I'm going to do that. So if we just do a quick fit on this. Yep. I had Mark 9s flying around, doesn't really matter. Republic Fleet small, so yeah, you've got some of those lying around as well from other fits. And then is the choice. You can either put in the armor repair. If you put, say, if we see, I've got 271 at the moment. I've got to put rigs on it yet. If I put that on, it should jump. Yeah, get an extra 20 DPS. So I mean that fit works perfectly fine. You can put the armor repair on. I've used that as well. It's gonna do incidental damage. It's not gonna. You're not gonna tank a huge fleet or anything stupid like that. It's just not going to happen. In terms of rigs, I do spend a little bit of cash on these. If you buy the Railgun 3, it's expensive. I've got that one lying around, so I'm going to use it. So it's a case of one, straight up DPS boost, and then two, aerators. So, I mean, yeah, I think that's gone up. Anyway, they're 10 million a piece. You're going to spend the ISK on this part of the build because you need the DPS. Not saying you can run a 3, you can run a 2, absolutely fine. That's without problem. I put in you need a gravity capacitor. So what these do is they reduce your scan radius. So it means that people don't get as much of a warning when you're scanning. So one of those, they're not hugely expensive. Again, your rigs are going to be expensive. Oh, that's really gone up in price. They weren't that high when I bought them. But it doesn't matter. I mean, use a 2 or a 1. I mean, it really doesn't matter if retrievers and whatever are getting warnings, then you're gonna have to deal with it. And then you saw I put on a free polycarbon. I don't have a free one lying around. You see, I just died. But let's just see if I've got. I've changed those. I didn't use. Oh yeah, so it doesn't matter. I needed the auxiliary thrusters. That's all I wanted. So I put on one auxiliary, one polycarbon. I mean, don't spend anything else on these rigs here. I'm not sure that's worth it. I'm sure that was 10 or 11 mil when I bought it. It's the DPS you want, and as you see, get great DPS on it here. I have got Nano Cores. I'm going to put one on this one. Again, entirely optional. I would normally use the Breeze 2 core because that's cheap. So I'm going to just fit that one. Oh, this one's not been fitted before. That's alright. I picked this up in the store at some point. No, that's not the one I want. Oh, that's different as well. Right, so I've actually got one here that's already customized. That's the one I generally use, but I know that's been locked. Yeah, it's locked. So the alternative is, and this is more expensive. I've used this Monsoon core, which gives me 14% boost on my railgun damage. So I mean, this has boosted me to 417. This is too much. I mean, you can go down, you can drop it down, lower thing. I mean, I've done most of those kills with 350 DPS, 417. It's great. It just means you just do it quicker. That's all. In terms of navigation, see, this is the orbit speed. I only use the micro warp drive to close distance. I don't use it to orbit because most of the targets you're dealing with, it's not going to be a problem. I load it up with some plasmoids and off I trek hunting, and that's what I do. So I'm going to show you some clips of this. Effectively, what I do is, in fact, I'll talk over the clips so I can explain how I do it. Okay, just so you're aware, that Atron costs about 88 million on the insurance estimate, so you know it's not a huge amount. And this is simply how it works. I'm going to warp into a null area where I'm going to go hunt. See, there's someone on the gate. There's pretty decent security by a bunch of corps and alliances. That just makes it more fun. And what I do is you warp to a body, and as you're warping, I'm going to scan. I'm going to look for signals coming out of asteroids. You've got to move it around to make sure the signal's actually coming from the asteroid. As you can see, I move it around, and it definitely looks like it's coming from that asteroid, and that's where I'm going to warp to have a look. The reason I don't scan it down is I don't want there to be a capsule sitting in there. I don't want there to be another interceptor or a frigate sitting in there. That will get a warning that I've scanned down the belt or the cluster or whatever it is. I'm going to warp in, take my luck. I've warped into large fleets and all sorts of things, but I can generally warp away quick enough. So I'm in here, I've got a retriever, lock them up. It's very simple. I approach. Obviously I've gone for the scrams as the first thing. I've not put on the micro warp because the micro warp I zoom to about 4,000 kilometers a second, which means I just causes, you know, get a weird you get, you know, the elongated orbit. You're not applying all your DPS. He's now just about realised what I'm going to do is, in this particular situation, I'm not taking him down as quickly as I'd want to. I think I've got about 380 DPS on this one, so I'm just going to pop the drones. Generally I find most miners don't have a full complement of drones, they've just got the 2, and so once you've popped them down, they're not going to do anything. He's actually not locking me, and I'm just going to carry on. It's a simple approach. This isn't anything at all complicated. This one is straightforward. He's either AFK or taking ages to lock me, whichever one you want to pick. I haven't showed local chat that's happening. He has called for help, so he is there, but it's just not going to come quick enough. And so that one's a relatively straightforward kill. And I just grab a bit of the loot. Obviously I can't take any of the other stuff. I keep on getting this thing where I can't actually loot anything. I have to click out and click back in, which is, you know, fine when you've got time, but if you're under pressure because people are jumping on you, not so great. So that's, you know, that's the simple way of doing these things. This next one, again, it's the same basic tactic. I'll warp into a planet whilst I'm warping. I'm going to do the scan. This one's got a lot more activity in the system. you can see there are multiple belts which are showing. And so what I do is I make a mental note. That one's, the 7 cluster belts. That's you. There's some are clusters, some are groups, some are belts. You've got to pay attention, figure out which one it is. I think there's one in there as well potentially. And I'm just going to go straight in and hit them and see what I find. And that's part of the point of this is you've got to be fast, you've got to engage quickly. There's quite a lot of people in this system. I've already hit someone within this alliance, and no doubt they're going to, well, they do swarm me, and they do a very good job of it. But you can see, you get signals. There aren't always things there. I can't always explain it. It's either people going cloaked, it's either people warping out as soon as they've realised there's a hostile in system, and all these things. But there we go. So here's a procurer, again a bit further away, and this is when I do use the micro warp. But as you'll see, it brings me in so fast, which is fine initially, but then you've got to slow down a bit. I approach, I don't start orbiting until I'm engaged. That's partly just to get myself a bit better DPS application. As soon as the drones are out, I lock them up. I can see he's starting to lock me, so actually I'm taking the drones out. I don't always take the drones out, but sometimes I do. You can see I've been double neuted, taken down. But my scrams have still got time on them. I've got good skills in frigates, and so I'm going to get back energy to keep it running. And I've also got the battery. Now these double newts hit me really hard. I mean, completely, cap gone. My railguns need cap. It's one of the disadvantages of this build, and so I've attacked. And I don't think I'm going to be able to take him. This is, I can tell you now, double large newts are the thing that I cannot deal with in this build. And it's a very sensible build for retrievers, procurers, and coveters to have. So as you can see, he's totally neuted me out, and he'll get away now. And that's a good fight for him. Well defended. So I've moved over the system. I can see they're starting to be more conscious of security. I couldn't get the scan off in time. It's, with a quick warp off time, it's one of the problems you do have. That's fine. I realise that there's several interceptors around. And so actually what I do in this one is from the gate of warp to one planet, I'm immediately warping to another just in case someone's seen me. And then actually change my mind and think, well, there's only 4 asteroid belt clusters, whatever, and so I'm actually just going to hit them without scanning, because I can just do that quicker, especially as I think people are trying to hunt me. And so I luck out on this one. Again, it's a procurer. Same approach. And the best thing is, I mean, like, this one is taking it slow. I mean, he's got some decent resistances. Sometimes you can absolutely melt ships. I mean, certainly Ventures with this ship, it's like 2-3 shots you can just melt them out completely, and you can lock them down pretty quick. I'm up to over 80 kills in a week on this Atron, which it's just been fun. And yeah, I know it's going after Care Bears, but you've got to keep industry going somehow. If you don't not having these fights, and it's a good intro. I thought it was a good intro to people who may not want to spend loads on PvP. Just put some skills into frigates, grab yourself an interceptor. Now I thought his mate was coming, and as you can see, I initially switched to take the drone down, and I changed my mind because the drones weren't doing a huge amount of damage. Now I thought the second one was coming in to take me down and join in, because multiple mining vessels, I mean anything more than 1 or 2, you don't really want to engage, because in a fleet these things, they'll hit hard, they'll newt you, web you, scram you, and then you'll have 6, 7, 8, 9 drones on you. But as they're not hitting that hard, and I've got my armor ripper on this one, I thought, well, no, actually, I'm just going to take the procurer down because I'm actually taking him down pretty quick. I don't really know what's going on with the other one. I thought they were going to attack, but well, you can see what happens in a moment. But I take this one down first. Again, it doesn't take too much. Grab the loot I can. And clearly the reason he stayed is I cannot break this guy's tank. So, yep. I mean, he sends the drones out. I thought he was going to lock me up. He probably could have taken me out on his own. But I cannot break that tank. And this goes on for a little while. So this footage is about 5 times speed. As you see, I can't take the tank out. Can't do it at all. So I decided to take the drones down to see if, well, no one's coming, so there's time. That was a mistake because in warps Phantasm, but I'm fast enough. I should have maybe had a set up to get out, but there you go. I'm gone and safe. And this is where I make my mistake. I'm starting to leave, move on to another area, and I get a little bit greedy. And that's generally where I make my mistakes, is that I take things on. So I saw a venture. I thought it was a bait venture, but then I saw it warp off. I went to try and get it, miss it, and then I'm going to go, and as you can see, that's I think it's a slasher, yeah, slasher interceptor, insta-lock me down, and I am not built for dealing with interceptors. I can. One of the kills I showed you was of an interceptors and some assaults. You can do it if you can get close enough. The problem is with the snubs you need to be really close, so anyone can pretty much keep you at range. So with rifles, you can probably get about 250 DPS on the ship, so that's going to be a real problem hunting the larger mining ships. But you can handle interceptors, and then 2 interceptor 2s come in and finish me off.